happening in your life are there because the Lord allowed it. Oh, why would God allow this to happen to me? Because sometimes God has to rattle our cages in order to get our attention. Because if God would not send trouble our way, many of us never would pray. I wish I had time in here. Many of us never would approach the throne of God if we never had trouble in our life. But God will send trouble so that He can get our attention. But He says, I want you to understand something. This is my house. And I have consecrated it to myself. This, Ebenezer, is the house of prayer. Don't ever get it twisted. Don't ever miss out on the fact that this is supposed to be the house of prayer. This is where prayer is supposed to be offered up to God on behalf of the people so that things can change. Are y'all in here? Look at what God says here. He says, if my people who are called by my name. Now, what you have to understand here, He said those who deem themselves as Christians. And Christian simply means Christ-like. Ask your neighbor, are you being Christ-like? No, don't ask him, are you being Christ-like? Because you cannot be a Christian if you're not being Christ-like. The first thing you got to do is be like Christ if you're going to be a Christian. And so He says here, if my people who are called by my name, if those people, let's recognize who He's talking to, friend. He's talking to the sinners. I'm trying to help you. He's not talking to sinners right here. He didn't say, if the world who was drinking and smoking and hanging out in the club, if they would call on my name, that's not what He said. He said, if my people who are called by my name, this is what they got to do. Watch this. Are you ready for this? Watch this. He said, if those people would humble themselves, number one. Okay, maybe we got to humble ourselves. Which means that we are too puffed up in ourselves. We think more highly of ourselves than we ought to think. We think that everything, the sun arises on us and it sits on us. No, baby. He said, you got to humble yourself. Tell you that it ain't about you. No, look at him and tell him this is not about you. God wants us to understand that many times the faith has such a pious viewpoint that sinners are turned off by us. You know why folks won't come to church? They won't come to church because we are so way up there that can't nobody get to us. We are so heaven bound that we're no earthly good. Talk to me, somebody. When we present to people that we have never done any wrong, I wish I had some real, okay, let me talk to the real people who are going to give the real testimony this morning, not the people who are trying to look cute and like you got it all together and you ain't done nothing wrong and you just got off the angel's lap kissing Jesus, not you. To the people who had some struggles, those who had some setbacks, those who took some wrong out, those who lied before, those who cheated before, those people who have backbited before, those people who have fornicated before, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the people who will be honest enough to say, I have had some issues before in my life. I'm not where I want to be, but thanks be to God, I'm not where I used to be. If those people would be the real mouthpiece for the church, and not these pious, pumped up people who try to present Christ in some far-off, distant place where can't nobody get to. He said, I need the real people. If those people would humble themselves, if everybody in the church would humble themselves under the mighty hand of God, watch what He says. He says, humble themselves. Number two, what does it say? Pray. After you bring yourself in, let me get yourself in check. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.